I don't invite people onto my boat to be tested. I invite them to be trusted. Saturday, 3:12 p.m. Mystic River Marina. Halyards clink. Diesel hums low. The starlight rocks like a steady breath. I'm Tom Reed, 55, former Navy engineer. Now the guy neighbors call when their bilge pump lies to them. I wear scuffed deck shoes and a windbreaker that remembers better winters. To certain people, that reads as less than. To Chase Miller, my son-in-law, it reads as target. He steps onto my transom like he owns the zip code. Designer loafers on teak. Sunglasses that say narcissist on a budget. He gives me the grin I've learned to hate, the dockside smirk. Tommy the plumber, he says. Cute boat. Weekend rental? I clock the tells. The slow scan of chrome. The thumb across leather. The tiny head tilt that invites everyone to laugh at the same time. It's textbook status, play a toxic script where I'm the enabler if I let it slide. Hi Dad, Emily says, voice small. My daughter used to yell my name across Little League fields. Now she barely looks at me. Shame does that when you live with a narcissist. Behind them, Chase's parents, Paul and Diane, are decent people trying to pretend the air doesn't taste like battery acid. We do the hugs. We do the, weather's perfect. We do 3 steps forward into a trap I can already see. I lay out lunch in the salon, white plates, crystal that used to be her mother's. I want this to be easy. I want this to be about family. I want one day where boundaries aren't a fight. Chase leans on my helm like it owes him interest. Wild question, Tom, what's this running you? He taps the nav screen. I mean, with your bank accounts, social security and all, there it is, ageism plus gaslighting in one sentence. Eat first, I tell him. Then questions. He laughs like I told a joke about myself. Text buzz, my Apple Watch. Because paper trails matter. Chase Emily, preview. We'll circle back on the will after. He's clearly not managing things now. I don't read her phone. I hear her whisper, see the guilt blink across her face. I know that tone. We'll manage his assets. I've heard it since Margaret died and left me the executor of our simple, airtight will. Chase lifts a bottle from my galley. Premium labels, on a rental, bold move. Put it back, I say. He grins wider. Relax, Tom. We'll expense it under family bonding. To which LLC? I ask. He blinks. Just a beat. Tells me everything. We sit. The salmon flakes clean. The river glints like a polished coin. For a minute, I let myself believe this can be normal. Then Chase starts a performance review of my life. Look, Tom, nobody's attacking you. We love that you want nice things. He makes nice sound contagious. But your financial decisions, big toys, no plan. I have a plan, I say. He nods like a therapist who already wrote the diagnosis. Great. Then you won't mind a little transparency. Emily and I think it's time to put your accounts on view only so we can help. Also, about the will, maybe shift Emily to primary on the house. Emily stares at her napkin. She doesn't say it, but I hear it. Please don't make this a fight. Shame is the leash gaslighting uses. I set my fork down. Even. Boundaries, I say. New rule. You don't audit me at my own table. Closed of quarter. Chase smiles like he invented mercy. Not an audit. A safety net. You know, so you don't get scammed by, say, a marina purchase that's really a predatory lease. That's not what this is. So it's owned? By who? Eat your lunch, I say. He claps softly. Deflection. Classic. He turns to his parents. We should probably call a family meeting. Just to make sure Dad's sorry Tom is not exposing the estate. He says estate like he's already spending it. Paul clears his throat. Chase. But Chase has the wheel of the conversation and he won't give it back. Tell you what, he says, standing. I'll help. I'll do dishes. Get familiar with the systems. In case of problems. He winks at Emily. The enabler part of me wants to accept the olive branch and trade peace for silence. The father part of me has a knot in his chest the size of a winch. Be my guest, I say, and let him go. Sometimes the fastest way to surface a lie is to give it water. He disappears into the galley. SFX, cabinet doors, a drawer, a metallic scrape. Another. Too deliberate to be clumsy. Diane tries to rescue the afternoon. Tom, this is lovely. Really, thanks, I say, eyes on the companionway. It was supposed to be. Phone vibrates email. Will questions from Chase, CC Emily. Subject, next steps for asset protection. He sent it from my boat. In the body, bullet points. Transfer on death forms for my checking and savings proposed to route through their joint account for ease. Temporary amendment naming Emily healthcare proxy just in case. Optional review of the will to streamline probate. I let the screen burn cold against my palm. Written evidence. He does this on purpose. Gaslighting is easier when it lives in your inbox. Water hisses. Not the soft hiss of a faucet. The sharp spray of something forced. Chase? I call. All good, he sings back. Little quirk down here. Old boats, right? This is not an old boat. And I replaced that faucet myself, marine grade. Seated clean, I stand. Excuse me. I'm halfway to the galley when my Apple Watch taps again. Text, Chase Emily. He'll blame the marina. Perfect. We'll frame it as maintenance neglect. Then we can insist on view-only banking. He's an enabler of his own bad decisions. I've read enough narcissist playbooks to know the move. Stage a rescue. Rewrite the story. Make me grateful for the humiliation. I step into the galley. Chrome is gouged in a plier pattern. The handle's been torqued past design. A dish towel, my dish towel wipes at metal shavings like a magician clearing confetti. The faucet screams while Chase feigns concern. Must be the rental curse, he says. Happens. We'll make some calls. Get you reimbursed. Hence seti beist. This isn't a rental, I say. He blinks. Sure, of course. Whatever story helps. He lowers his voice. Look, Tom, I'm on your side. Let me handle vendors. Also, quick sign-off. We should do that view-only access just to avoid this. I kill the water at the shutoff, jaw tight. I say nothing, because anything I say right now will be used as content for his narrative. Instead, I do what I've done my whole life when a system misbehaves. I check the logs. The Starlight has 8 internal cameras. I installed them after a rash of dock thefts. They feed to a hidden NVR under the nav desk. Blink monitor on. Back scroll to 3 minutes ago. There he is, casual, alone, testing a perfectly functioning faucet, then bracing his foot and wrenching it like a man proving a point. He looks around, smiles, wipes the evidence. I copy the clip to a drive the size of a postage stamp. I drop it in my pocket next to a spare shackle. One anchors rope. The other anchors truth. Back in the salon, I pour coffee. My hands don't shake. Not anymore. When you finally see the pattern, the guilt evaporates like morning fog. Emily watches me like I'm an unstable wire. Dad? I'm fine, I say. Just making a note. A note about what? Chase says, cheerful again, returning with that post-sabotage glow. Boundaries, I say. And proof. Are. He laughs, that airy condescension. Tom, don't make this toxic. We're family. No. I say evenly. Family doesn't gaslight. Family doesn't sabotage and call it help. Family doesn't email estate edits from someone else's galley. Silence. Even the river seems to hold its breath. I set my phone face up on the table. Here's what happens next. We finish lunch. Then we have a short meeting. I bring written evidence. You bring honesty. About what? He asks, already defensive. About the faucet, I say, and let that hang. About the bank accounts you're trying to reroute. About the will you're trying to streamline. And about who, exactly, is the enabler in this family. And to do it. He squares up, ready to spin. I ring the bow bell once clear, bright, final. That's the line, I tell him. Cross it, and you're off my boat. I smile, small and real. I'm done being nice the way enablers are nice. I'm done negotiating with a narcissist for scraps of respect at my own table. You wanted transparency, Chase? I say. Good. Me too. I plate the salmon and set down my late wife's crystal like it's armor. Sun through the salon windows throws river light across the mahogany. For a second, we look like a postcard, 5 people pretending we're not sitting on a powder keg. Paul, Diane, I say. White or sparkling? Sparkling's lovely, Diane answers, soft as seagrass. Chase answers for everyone. White. It pairs. He makes pairs sound like obeys. We eat. Knife against china. Halyards tapping the mast, ting ting. I keep my voice level. Emily. How's the new project? She brightens a notch. We launched Tuesday. It's good. Chase cuts in. Goodish. She needs bandwidth freed up. which is why we're streamlining family admin. He uses my table like a conference room. Less chaos, fewer risks. Win-win. There it is. The pivot from nice lunch to intervention. I slide bread toward Diane. Try the rosemary. Chase taps his phone on the table just enough to make it part of the centerpiece. Quick housekeeping, Tom. No pressure. We just want to help you tighten your estate plan. We sketched a few motions. He winks at Paul and Diane like we're playing charades. Boundary, I remind him. We finish lunch before business. He smiles thin. This is lunch adjacent. Text buzz on Emily's phone. She flinches. I don't read screens. I read faces. Guilt flickers. Fear follows. That's how gaslighting wires the nervous system. Shock, then silence. Tom, Diane tries. This salmon is... Chase interrupts her compliment with a spreadsheet voice. 3 buckets, bank accounts, the will, healthcare directives, nothing scary. He holds up fingers like a kid's show. 1, view-only access for us so we can watch for fraud. He doesn't say control, but the word sits in the room anyway. 2, minor tweak to the will, name Emily primary on the house to simplify probate. 3, update your healthcare proxy. Life is unpredictable. Predictable enough, I say, that my existing documents are rock solid. He nods like a therapist grading me B-. Totally. And outdated. Paul clears his throat. Maybe we let Tom lead? Chase sips his wine. Leadership is making smart delegations. I set my glass down, quiet. Chase, I'm not a problem to be managed. Never said you were, but your purchases, he glances around the cabin. Signal risk, premium labels, fancy electronics. On a rental. He smirks for the invisible camera crew in his head. We're just trying to make sure you don't get taken advantage of. By who? I ask. A marina? Or a son-in-law? Emily whispers. Dad. A warning. A plea. Both. Chase leans back like he's on his own talk show. Look, narcissists hate oversight. He says it to the others, not to me. Classic move. Label your target first, to pre-poison the well. Projection, I say. Textbook. He chuckles. That's what a narcissist would say. Email ding on my watch. Subject. Next steps. Asset protection drafts. From Chase. Sent 2 minutes ago. While eating my food, he's firing off written evidence. Bullet points again. TOD forms routing to their joint account for operational convenience. A temporary durable power of attorney template attached, helpfully pre-filled with my name. I breathe. In through nose, out through count. Navy taught me that in seas rougher than this. Chase, I say. Why the urgency? He smiles like a lifeguard selling flotation devices in a puddle. Scams spike in summer. Also, you've been forgetful, like that time you double paid the yard. I paid once, I correct. And I have the receipts. Exactly. Paperwork is hard. He pats the table. That's why enablers, family, step in. Stop calling yourself my enabler, I tell him. You're not propping me up, you're pushing. They're resentful from sand. He shrugs. Tom, this is boundaries. If you keep spending to look boater rich, we draw a line. Emily's name goes on the house. We go view only on your accounts. And we co-sign major purchases. For how long? Until things stabilize. He doesn't define stabilize. Control never does. Diane tries again. Chase, honey. Maybe the tone. He gives her the polite son smile. Then looks right at me. Full transparency. I've scheduled a consult with Miller and Brookfield Wealth Monday. They'll review your asset allocation and talk retirement drawdown. We'll loop you in. You scheduled a meeting about my finances without me. With love, he says. I place my napkin on my lap like it weighs a pound. Here's my transparency. I'm willing to discuss anything with respect. He says, totally, while shaking his head no. SFX. A fender squeaks outside as a trawler glides past. The river keeps time. My patience doesn't. Let's reset, I offer. We finish lunch. Then a short meeting in the salon. Everyone gets 5 minutes. I'll start with facts. Then you can talk. Facts. He grins. Like the fact this is a rental? Like the fact you sent me a POA template from my own galley? He laughs. You're welcome? Emily's eyes glisten. Chase, can you please? Babe, I'm protecting your dad. This is what good sons do. Then Sujid, I look at her and see the tug of war inside love and fear, hope and habit. The question that lives in every kitchen where a toxic script runs. If I keep quiet, does it get better? If I speak, do I lose him? I speak for her. I'm not confused, I tell Chase. I'm done being nice in the way that keeps abuse comfortable. He tilts his head. The dockside smirk returns. Abuse is a big word, Tom. So is sabotage, I say, evenly. Let's try not to use either today. He pushes back from the table with gracious theater. Tell you what, I'll do dishes. Diane brightens. Paul exhales. Emily manages a thank you that sounds like an apology. Chase stands, rolling his sleeves like a surgeon starring in his own trailer. I'll get familiar with the systems, in case of future quirks. He winks at me. We'll keep you safe. He moves to the galley. SFX, cabinet, drawer, the faint clink of metal. I clock each sound with the detached calm of a man counting waves before a storm. Paul leans in. Tom, I'm sorry. He gets carried away. He gets strategic, I say. Carried away is spilling wine. This is intentional. Diane lowers her voice. We raised him better than this. I believe you, I tell her, but belief isn't evidence. Emily's fingers twist her napkin. Dad. I know he's a lot. He says he's trying to help. I don't question, I say gently. When he helps, do you feel smaller or safer? She swallows. Doesn't answer. That's an answer. SFX. Water. Not the domestic hush of a tap and angry hiss. Little quirk, Chase calls, chipper. These old fittings, I'll manage. I don't move. Not yet. A younger version of me would sprint, fix, smooth, enable. The man I am now lets silence do its work, lets people reveal themselves without my coaching. Chase keeps talking to the room, to the story he's building. Tom's lucky to have us. Monday we'll get the paperwork going. One login at a time. Paperwork for what? Paul asks, trying to keep hope alive. Chase recites like a catechism. View-only bank access. TOD forms. HCPOA update. Minimal lift. Max protection. For who? I ask. He doesn't blink. The family. I stand, not fast, not slow. Just certain. Coffee? I offer. Before our meeting, Diane nods, grateful for any olive branch. Paul says yes. Emily whispers, please don't fight. We're not fighting, I tell her. We're clarifying. I walk to the nav desk first, not the galley. I slide my hand under the lip, find the recessed button, and feel the NVR hum awake. Insurance against a world that lies. 8 feeds, 8 angles. Truth is patient. I've learned to be too. Back at the table, I pour coffee. My hands are steady. 5 minutes, I say. Then the meeting. Perfect, Chase says, reappearing with the post-sabotage glow I've seen on 100 men who think they just won. We'll streamline everything. I ring the bow bell once. It cuts the air clean. That's your marker? He jokes. That's my line, I say. Cross it again, and you're off my boat. He smiles like he owns the horizon. Tom, I don't cross lines. I draw them. Today, I tell him, you don't. I don't sprint to the galley. I count to 3 long enough for a liar to relax, short enough for a leak not to flood. Then I move. SFX. A hard hiss from the tap. The slap of water on stainless. Chase is staged like a hero in a commercial. Sleeves rolled, concerned brow. One hand on the faucet, the other on my dish towel. Bad news, Tom, he says, faux gentle. Your rental has a quirk. I see it in one glance. Not a quirk. Damage. Chrome at the base is chewed, plier marks, semicircles where teeth bit and twisted. The handle is past its designed stop. Valves complaining like metal on metal. A scatter of fresh shavings glitters against the sink like broken promises. Step back, I say. He does a small hop to sell cooperation. He keeps the smirk. I reach below, feel for the shutoff. Quarter turn. Water dies to a sulk. The hose still drips evidence in slow motion. Old boats, Chase says, sympathetic like a wolf in a cardigan. Happens. She will had durned. This isn't old, I answer. And I installed this fixture myself. Last month, he whistles. Then hey, at least you know a good plumber. I lean in. My thumb comes away gray with graphite from the valve stem new. My towel, now his prop, stinks faintly of WD-40. I didn't use lubricant on install. I used thread sealant rated for salt. Let me help, he says, already reaching for the handle again. We should test. No, I tell him. We shouldn't. He holds up both hands innocent, see? And angles his body so Emily can see what a helpful man looks like when he's being unappreciated. I snap 3 photos. Base, handle, shavings. I tap to lock time divided by date. I email them to myself with the subject line, Galley Faucet. Damage, 3:29 p.m. ICC, a dummy archive account. Chain of custody basic, boring, bulletproof. Back in the salon, voices try to mend the afternoon with small talk that sounds like bubble wrap. Paul asks about mooring fees. Diane compliments the woodwork. Emily laughs once and flinches at the sound. Chase lowers his voice for me alone. We'll call the marina. Get you reimbursed. But this is what I mean, your bank accounts need guardrails. You're an enabler for predatory vendors. That word again, enabler. He keeps trying to hang it on me like a leaky life jacket. Appreciate the concern, I say, and let it drop to the floor where it belongs. I open the under-sink cabinet. The supply lines are fine. No kinks, no stress. The damage is localized, all at the control. Someone attacked the mechanism, not the plumbing. That's not wear. That's intent. Could be corrosion. Chase offers. Salt air eats everything. You know how it is. Corrosion leaves a bloom, I say. This is a bite. He chuckles. YouTube engineer. I turn the shutoff back on a hair, test with a fingertip. Pressure holds. The cartridge is blown. Easy fix if the point is fixing. Today, the point is clarity. Coffee's ready, Diane calls down. Everything okay? Godding. I was and not target to they. All good. Chase sings, louder than necessary. We've got it under control. I watch his performance move through the air like smoke. I've seen it in boardrooms. Break something. Frame the narrative. Offer rescue. Bill for heroism. It works because nice people want the problem to be over. Enablers, the well-meaning kind, hate conflict more than they love the truth. I set the towel, with its metal confetti, gently in a zip bag. I label it with a Sharpie. Faucet towel, galley. 331. Overkill. Maybe. Or maybe it's called being done with guessing. Chase leans on the jam. Seriously, Tom, let me call maintenance. I've got a guy. I've got a system, I say. I slide the bag into a drawer. I close the drawer. He lowers his voice further. Look, off the record, your estate is vulnerable. Scammers see widowers and think easy money. I'm trying to keep you from doing something stupid because you want to look. He glances around, finds the word, boaty. I'm not off the record, I say, and I don't do stupid. He smiles. Every narcissist says that. I let the insult pass like a wake that doesn't rock me. The bell in my head rings once. Boundary. Don't take the bait. Build the case. Why don't you go up? I tell him. Enjoy the view. I'll catch up. He pats my shoulder in a way that makes my skin want to leave. Proud of you, he says, like I'm 9. We'll get those view-only logins sorted and never have to worry about this kind of emergency again. He goes. His cologne leaves. The anger stays. I put it where it belongs. Fuel. Not fire. I pop the handle cap, ease the retaining screw, and lift the lever. The cartridge shows torsion scars twisted, not worn. I take a close-up. Click. Click. Email. Subject. Cartridge. Torsion. 3:34 p.m. I bag the shavings from the sink rim with a strip of blue tape. Overkill again. Or maybe it's the price of living with someone who says prove it. After every bruise he swears he never left. On my way to the helm, I pass the bow bell. I don't ring it. Not yet. Bells call meetings. Right now I need a mirror. The nav desk is my church. Hidden NVR lives under the lip, tucked behind a teak panel you wouldn't notice unless you installed it. I press the recessed button. SFX. A soft fan, a soft click. 8 feeds blink awake on a small monitor cockpit. Salon, galley, companionway, forecabin, aft berth, transom, helm. I scrub back. 3 hours 27 minutes and 9 seconds. Chase entering frame. 3 hours 27 minutes and 20 seconds. He checks the door. 3 hours 27 minutes and 28 seconds. He turns the faucet on, off, on, off normal. 3 hours 27 minutes and 41 seconds. He braces his foot against the base cabinet. 3 hours 27 minutes and 42 seconds wrench. The camera shakes from it. 3 hours 27 minutes and 44 seconds he smiles. 3 hours 27 minutes and 46 seconds he reaches for my towel. 3 hours 27 minutes and 58 seconds he wipes the shavings. 3 hours 28 minutes and 10 seconds. He practices the face he'll wear when he says, "Quirk." I don't narrate it. I record it. Export clip USB. File name, Galley, Cam 3, 32,742, 03, 2905, MP4. I drop the drive in my pocket with the weight of a coin that buys clarity. I take one more step I should have taken years ago. I open notes, title a fresh page, boundary log, chase, bullet entries. 12:02 p.m. Tommy the Plumber. Public belittling. 12:19 p.m. Will manage his assets. Attempt to seize bank transparency. 12:23 p.m. Email sent. POA template plus TOD forms. Subject, asset protection. 3:27-3:28 p.m. Deliberate damage to galley faucet. See Cam 3, 3:29 p.m. statement. We'll call the marina for reimbursement. Narrative framing. I'm not building a court case. I'm building a spine. Back in the salon, Diane has refolded her napkin 3 times. Paul studies the table like it has answers. Emily twists her ring a storm at sea in a small silver circle. Chase is at the window, hands in pockets, staring at my dock lines like he tied them. All set? He asks, golden again. We can call insurance. I know how to phrase it. We won't lie, I say. He lifts an eyebrow. Lie is a strong word. So is sabotage. He laughs too loud. Tom, if the faucet broke, it broke. Don't be toxic about it. I pour coffee mine first. Meeting time, I say. 5 minutes. Salon table. Written evidence only. No vibes. He gestures to the river. Can't we just enjoy the day? We will, I say. After we protect it. He sits with performance grace. Emily perches like a guest in her own life. Paul and Diane settle with the grim discipline of good people bracing for a bad conversation. I place 3 things on the table. My phone, photos, plus email, the zip bag with the towel, and the USB. Not weapons, weights. Chase eyes the USB like it might bite. What's that? Clarity, I say. He smiles at everyone else. Tom's feeling litigious. It's okay. We'll steer it back to family. He reaches for the towel bag. I lift a hand. Don't contaminate the evidence. He freezes half a second, then the smirk returns. You're really doing this. I'm really done not doing it. Over a faucet? He says, incredulous. You're going to make yourself the guy who blows up family over a quirk. Not over a faucet, I say, calm. Over a pattern. Silence sits down with us. I look at Emily. You asked me not to fight. I'm not. I'm documenting. That's what people do when they've lived with gaslighting long enough to learn the rules. She nods. A tiny nod with an ocean under it. I turn to Chase. Last courtesy. Do you want to correct your story before I play the clip, or after? His jaw works. The grin thins. Play whatever you think you have. Good, I say. I pick up the USB. The metal is warm from my pocket. Outside, lines creak softly, and the starlight takes a breath. 4 minutes, I tell them. Then we're going to set boundaries you can't edit. I stand, slide the drive toward the tablet dock, and feel the old coat of guilt finally peel off like sunburn. I don't need rage. I have proof. The monitor wakes. The cursor hovers over play. Watch carefully, I say. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I don't give speeches. I give timestamps. I slot the USB into the tablet dock. The screen mirrors to the salon TV. 8 tiles bloom. Cockpit, salon, galley, cam, 3, companionway, forecabin, aft berth, transom, helm. I tap the galley feed until it fills the screen. 4 minutes, I say. No interruptions. If anyone talks over the video, I'll rewind. We became heard in 12. Saw nut. Chase half smiles. You recorded your own family? That's standard. I cut in. Marina thefts last spring. Sign posted by the nav desk. This boat is under video surveillance. I cue the scrub bar. On-screen timestamp. 3:27 and 9 seconds p.m. Chase enters frame, casual like a commercial. He checks the companionway empty. Turns the faucet on. Water arcs smooth, off. Clean stop. Working. I narrate. Flat. No chatter. No drift. 3 hours 27 minutes and 41 seconds. He plants a foot, grabs the lever with both hands, and wrenches. The camera trembles. Metal grinds. He smiles. Diane's hand flies to her mouth. Paul swears under his breath. 3 hours 27 minutes and 46 seconds. He pulls my towel, wipes the shavings, tests the lever, rehearses the worried face he'll wear upstairs. Pause. Chase says, a crack in his voice. There's context. Play, I say, and the video obeys me, not him. 3 hours 27 minutes and 58 seconds. 3 hours 28 minutes and 10 seconds. He wipes again, scans for residue, pats the counter like a man pleased with his work. I hit pause. The screen freezes on a smile I finally have a name for. Malice. Silence settles, heavy as a wet line. Diane whispers, Chase, why? He straightens, finds the smirk, tries it on. It doesn't fit. Looks bad. But I was trying to unstick it. You can hear it was bound up. I tap back. We re-watch on divided by off perfect. I tap forward the wrench. Bound up after you bound it, I say. Paul's voice goes low. Son. It's not a question, it's a verdict. Chase pivots to a new story. Tom's cherry picking. There's more footage like when the faucet was already. Spoliation, I say. The legal word for wiping evidence, like wiping shavings with a towel. I lift the zip bag from the table. This towel is now preserved. He laughs, brittle. You're not suing me over a faucet. Correct, I say. I don't sue over items. I set boundaries over patterns. Emily stares at the paused frame, her voice small. Chase, did you, on purpose? He reaches for her hand. She doesn't give it. Babe, listen, Tom set me up. He wants me to look dangerous so he can justify keeping the accounts locked down. This is classic gaslighting. I don't correct him. I point to the screen. This is classic recording. I hit play and let the last 10 seconds finish. Chase does the concerned face practice. Then he exits the frame, a man ready to be the hero of the problem he just created. I stop the clip. I open photos on my phone. Airdrop to the TV. Close-ups of the plier marks, the torsion scars on the cartridge, the WD-40 sheen on the towel fibers, time divided by date burn in the corner. Tom, Paul says quietly, send me those. I already did, I answer. Email. 3:34 p.m. Subject line in your inbox. Chase goes for volume. You're all overreacting. This is a faucet and a bad angle. He filmed us without consent. Connecticut is a one-party consent state for audio, I say. And this was posted near the helm. This vessel is under video surveillance. You saw the sign. Written notice. Emily finds her voice. Why? She asks him, eyes fixed on the screen. Why break something of my dad's? Chase's jaw flexes. He looks at me. He looks at the USB. He looks at the door like it might open into a different scene. I was testing it, he says, aggressively, because I care. If it failed at sea, we'd face a flood. I'm the only one thinking ahead. It would be funny if it didn't land like a bruise. I pull my phone closer. Boundary log, I say, reading calm as a harbor. 12:2 Tommy the plumber. 12:19 will manage his assets. 12:23 email with POA template and TOD forms. 3:27 deliberate damage on cam 3. Pattern. Control, humiliate, rescue, seize. Stop, he snaps. You're making this toxic. No, I say. I'm making it visible. Diane's eyes shine. Chase, you need to apologize. Now, he shakes his head. For what? For protecting the family? For daring to ask a widower to be responsible? He's drowning, and I'm the bad guy for throwing a rope? Paul's voice is granite. A rope doesn't strangle first. Chase turns to Emily. Babe, he's spinning you. He's been enabling himself for months buying image. Trying to look boater rich. Chase, she says, steady for the first time today. He replaced a faucet. You broke it. On video. His eyes go cold. You're siding with him. I'm siding with the truth. I let that sit. Truth doesn't need my help. It needs space. I slide the USB back into my pocket. Here's how we proceed, I say. We acknowledge what happened. We repair it physically and relationally if the people involved can be trusted. If they can't, we create distance. Chase laughs like he's learned nothing. Distance? Off your rental? Please, I consider telling him now. I don't. Timing is leverage. I've spent a career learning that. Step 1, I continue. Amends. That means A. Honest admission. B. Payment for parts and time at standard marine rates. C. Written apology to the group for lying. D. No further commentary about my bank accounts, the will, or healthcare directives without my explicit invitation. That is the boundary. You're kidding, he says. Over a faucet. Over a pattern, I repeat. Say the word with me, Chase. Pattern. He stares. He won't say it. Men like him can't let language pin them down. Emily breathes in like it hurts. Can we step outside? Just us? She asks him. Chase shakes his head. No more sidebars. Transparency, remember? He squares up to me. You want an admission? Fine. I torqued it. Happy? It's $20 at West Marine. Cartridge is $58, I say. The lesson is priceless. He smirks, trying on defiance, like a jacket that's suddenly too small. You got your confession. Now drop the drama. Paul exhales hard. That's not an apology. Diane finds steel in her softness. Chase, say, I'm sorry. I lied. I won't do it again. He opens his mouth. Nothing decent comes out. He shrugs instead. I regret the miscommunication. Noted, I say, typing. Non-apology recorded. He glares. You keeping notes like a probation officer now? Like a man who's done being gaslit. I stand. My chair doesn't scrape. I lift it like you should lift heavy things with your legs and your mind made up. Meeting adjourned. I'll fix the faucet. Then we're going to recalibrate access to this boat. To my accounts. To my time. Chase spreads his hands. So dramatic. So specific. I correct. I head to the galley. SFX. Tool roll unfurls. Steel on wood. The act of repair steadies me. New cartridge seats. Thread sealant cures. Quarter turn test water obeys. Lever glides like it remembers how. Back in the salon, I wipe my hands and look at the people I invited aboard to be trusted. 2 are worthy. 1 is deciding who she wants to be. 1 has told us already. Thank you for watching the video, I say. It wasn't for humiliation. It was for orientation. You can't chart a course if you lie about where you are. Chase smiles, brittle. Chart away, Captain. I ring the bow bell once. The sound is clean. My house feels clean with it. After coffee, I say. We'll talk about use of the boat going forward. He scoffs. Use of the rental. I finally look him dead in the eye and let a little of the truth out to stretch its legs. Chase, I say, almost kind. You should stop using that word before it embarrasses you. His smirk returns, reflex more than thought. Can't wait to be embarrassed. You won't have to, I tell him. It's almost your turn. And the gret, I pour coffee for Paul and Diane, top off Emily's. I leave Chase's cup empty. Boundaries aren't always metaphors. Outside, the mystic river flashes gold. Inside, the narrative does not belong to him anymore. I take my seat at the head of the table I paid for. On the boat I maintain. With the name I chose on her stern. Next item, I say. Ownership. I don't raise my voice, I raise the facts. Ownership, I say again, sliding a slim leather folder onto the table. It's not dramatic. It's administrative. Chase leans back like he's settling in for a comedy. Please, enlighten us about your rental. I open the folder and lay out 3 documents in a neat row. Face up, edge aligned. USCG Certificate of Documentation, vessel name, Starlight. Official number. Owner, Thomas J. Reed. Insurance declarations, page insured. Thomas J. Reed. Hull coverage. Liability limits. Effective dates. Marina Berthing Agreement, Mystic River Marina, Slip B17. Billing to Reed, Marine LLC, single member, me. Read the headers, I tell him, aloud. He smirks for 2 seconds. Then the words slow him down. Owner, Thomas J. Reed. He reads, like the paper betrayed him. He skips to the second. Insured, Thomas J. Reed. The smirk fights for its life. Paul leans in, glasses on. That's Coast Guard documentation, Chase. It's not a print-at-home certificate. There is rarely cadestance then. Diane exhales like she's been underwater since lunch. Emily swallows. Dad, you own it? Yes, I say. Registered, insured, moored under my LLC for liability. Slip fees auto-pay from a dedicated marine account. No financing, no balloon, no rental. Chase tries to pivot. Cute folder. Anyone can laminate a lie. I slide over a smaller card, the Marina Access card, with my name embossed and my key fob stamped B17. I drop them gently. Plastic makes a specific sound when it lands right side up. Also, I add, tapping my phone, here's the ACH Ledger monthly slip fee to Mystic River Marina, posted on the 1st, and the insurance premium draft to Atlantic Mutual on the 10th. I've had these set since April. Paul nods once, the way men nod when a ledger balances. He owns it. Diane's voice is soft. Tom, why didn't you just say so earlier? I meet Emily's eyes. Because I was trying to give us a day without math or status. A day about family. Because sometimes telling a narcissist they're wrong is like throwing chum in the water. Chase laughs, brittle. So you kept a secret to trap me. That's toxic. No, I say. I kept a boundary to protect peace. You broke the peace. And the faucet. He points at the folder. Even if you own it, this is irresponsible. Big assets, no oversight. You're proving my point. My oversight is called being the owner. I turn to Emily and the Millers. I had planned past tense to offer family access the right way. A use trust with written behavior terms and a calendar. No keys for anyone until we all understood what respect looks like on the water. Silence blooms. Even the river seems to lean closer. Chase chooses the worst possible fork. A trust? Over a boat? You're ridiculous. I let that sit. Ridiculous was thinking you'd respect a gift you didn't earn. Emily blinks hard. A gift? I nod once. The use trust would have given you, Emily, scheduled access. After a season, if it was healthy, I planned to list you as a successor member in the LLC. With conditions, it was my way of saying, I trust you to treat what I love with care. Her hand goes to her mouth. The weight of what might have been lands where it belongs. Chase snorts. So now we're supposed to beg? No, I say. You're supposed to tell the truth. He reaches for swagger. Fine. Truth. You're playing yacht club to impress people. You hid ownership to make me look stupid. You're gatekeeping your assets because you know you're sloppy with money. Paul's chair scrapes. He stands a little. Enough. Diane's voice finds steel. Chase, I keep my tone even. Sloppy would be what you emailed from my table. POA, TOD to your joint account, and simplify the will. That's not help. That's control wrapped in hallmark. He shrugs, desperate. It's standard practice. It's predatory when you sabotage something to justify it. He points to the docs again. If you own this tub, show me the bill of sale. Happy to, I say, and keep it in the folder. But you don't need it to grasp the point. You keep saying rental because you want this to be about me pretending. It's not. It's about you pretending you didn't just prove you can't be trusted around things that matter to me. Emily's voice is a thread. Dad, were you really going to let us use it? I was. I look at her, not him. On the condition that respect wasn't optional. Chase tries humor, and misses. Guess we failed the pop quiz. It wasn't a quiz, I say. It was lunch. He drops the last mask. So what, ban me? Take my wife's boat day because I hurt your feelings. Because you lied and broke things, I correct. Consequences are not feelings. Paul looks at me. What are you asking for, Tom? Simple, I say. Amends and adjustments. I turn to Chase. Amends. You cover the parts in my time at my shop rate. You send a written apology to this table acknowledging deliberate damage and false statements. Adjustments. You have no access to this boat, its systems or my accounts. You do not discuss my will. If you can honor that for 6 months, we revisit. If you can't, you don't come aboard again. That's the change of course. Chase's laugh is hollow. You can't keep Emily away from her own fathers. Emily chooses for Emily, I say. Today she chooses with eyes open. He turns on her. Babe, seriously? He's making me the villain over a faucet on a boat he lied about owning. Emily's voice finally firms. You broke it on purpose and tried to spin it. You emailed my dad legal forms to shift his bank accounts while you were eating his food. You called him an enabler while you were trying to control him. I'm done pretending that's help. He stares like the ground moved. So that's it? You feed this and I get punished? And nothing is the compli. Paul answers for the room. You punished yourself. Diane nods, eyes wet. You did this. Chase tries one more redirect. Fine. I'll pay for your precious cartridge. Can we go now? You can, I say. Emily's welcome to stay if she wants. Paul, Diane, I'd like you to stay. We haven't finished the afternoon I invited you for. Chase scoffs. You're kicking me off a rental you magically own. Cute. I look him in the eye. I'm asking you to leave my boat because you broke my trust. Words matter. He waits for me to blink. I don't. Keys. I add, palm open. Return the Marina Gate card you borrowed from Emily's keyring. He hesitates. Then he fishes it out and drops it into my hand. The plastic lands with that right side up sound again. It's amazing how final a click can feel. He points at Emily. Coming? She looks at the water. At me. At the video still burned into her head. I'm staying, she says. Barely above a whisper. He shakes his head, laughs like a man walking away from a fire he started. Enjoy story time, he says, and heads for the companionway. Chase, I say without looking at him. I'll email the invoice and the boundary summary. Reply by email only. No calls. He mutters something about lawyers and storms up. Silence. Then the soft creak of the dock line as he hits the pier. The air lightens. Paul sits back down. Diane wipes her eyes. Emily stares at the table like it's a map out of a maze. I breathe in the way the river taught me, slow, wide. Thank you, I say to the two people who didn't make this worse. I turn to my daughter. We'll go slow. One decision at a time. The boat rocks, gentle. The folder sits open, documents calm as truth. I close it and slide it away. Not a weapon, just orientation. Coffee's still hot, I say. After this cup, we'll talk what access looks like to the boat and to me. Outside, footsteps fade down the dock. Inside, the helm is quiet, waiting. I ring the bow bell once new heading set. I don't punish, I recalculate. The salon is quiet enough to hear ice settle in a glass. I set my cup down, fold the leather folder, and say what I didn't plan to say today. I need to withdraw something, I tell them. Not out of spite, out of safety. Emily looks up like the word might be a trap. Withdraw what? The gift, I say. The family use trust I drafted for next month, the one that would have given you scheduled access, with a path to become a successor member in my LLC if the first season went well. It's off the table. Permanently. She flinches like I snapped a line. I soften my tone, not the content. I can't hand the keys to a system someone just proved they'll sabotage to win an argument. That's not boundaries, that's negligence. Paul nods, slow. Diane squeezes Emily's hand. Chase's footsteps fade on the dock, angry rhythm. Wrong tempo for a marina. I lay the trust draft on the table so they know I'm not bluffing, cover memo on top. My handwriting in the margin. Respect clause equals non-negotiable. I slide it back into the folder and click the tab shut like a lid on a box that won't be opened again. Emily's voice is small. Dad, I didn't know. About the trust. About any of it. That was the point, I say. To let you just be my kid for one day. No math. No ladders to climb. Just water. Chest. She blinks fast. I'm sorry. I shake my head. You don't apologize for someone else's choices. Phone buzz, a text from Chase. Preview flashing like a flare. Chase, you just humiliated me. Lawyers Monday. If you post that video, it's defamation. Also, Emily's name needs on house by EOM. Non-negotiable. I don't open it. I screenshot the preview, written evidence, and forward to myself with the subject line, post exit threat, 4:02 p.m. Then I mute the thread. Silence is a boundary too. I speak to the room, not the phone. Here's what changes. Effective now. No keys. No Marina Gate card access beyond me. No systems. No help with engines, tanks, electronics, or the helm. No money talk. My bank accounts, the will, any POA off limits unless I invite the conversation in writing. All communication goes to email. No calls, no pop-ins. That creates a paper trail and protects everyone's nervous system. If there's a need to pick up personal items from my house or the boat, we do a brief civil standby with marina security, no side conversations. Paul exhales like a man finally standing on level ground. That's clear. Diane nods. It's kind. It's specific, I say. Kindness without clarity becomes enabling. Emily lets out a breath she's been holding for a year. You're not mad at me? I'm mad at the pattern, I say. And I'm done letting it borrow my peace. Email. Ding, my outbox confirms 3 messages sent. Invoice. Galley cartridge plus labor to Chase. With photos. Time logs. Boundary summary. 6 divided by XX to the group PDF. Bullet points. Exactly what I just said. Access revocation. Starlight used trust to myself. CC my estate attorney formally withdrawing the draft. I say it out loud so no one can pretend they didn't hear. The use trust is withdrawn. There will be no transfer, no calendar, no successor status. Not later. Not after an apology. Not ever. Emily nods, eyes glossy. Okay. I add one more thing I owe myself. I also need to say this to the person I've been for a long time. Was I enabling this by being nice? Yes. I thought if I absorbed enough disrespect, I could keep the family intact. That's not love. That's a slow leak. Diane's voice is barely a whisper. What does repair look like now? Simple, I say. On land. In writing. With a third party. If Emily wants to work on her marriage, I'll help with logistics and childcare someday, whatever's appropriate. But help has conditions. No gaslighting. No money grabs. No sabotage. Emily looks at the window, the water beyond it. I don't know what I want yet. You're allowed to not know, I say. That's why time is a boundary too. Phone buzz again, another text preview from Chase. Chase. Delete the footage. It's illegal. Also, I'm freezing access to family joint checking until we clarify roles. I forward that to my archive as well. 3-2. Bank leverage. 4:08 p.m. Then open my banking app and quickly remove any remote links Chase ever had visibility into. Not a panic move, a hygiene move. When someone shows you they'll twist a valve until it breaks, you assume they'll do it digitally too. Paul sees my face. Everything okay? Everything's documented, I say. And that's half the battle. Emily wipes her cheek. Can I stay? Just for a while. You can stay as long as you like, I tell her. We'll watch the sun hit the channel markers and pretend the river's a metronome. Diane smiles through the ache. I'd like that. I refresh my email, the read receipt pings. Chase viewed invoice. Chase viewed boundary summary. Another text preview arrives. Chase, you think you're clever? You just made yourself a meme, Captain. See you in court. I breathe out a laugh that isn't humor. When narcissists lose narrative control, I say to no one and everyone, they threaten spectacle. I type 1 reply, my only one today. 2, Chase. Subject, reboundary summary. Body, all future communication by email only. Do not contact me by phone or in person. Acknowledge receipt. Tom, send, archive, mute. I turn back to my people, the ones still in the room because they chose to be. Here's the last housekeeping for today. I'm updating my estate letter, not the will. Not today, just the letter that sits on top. The one that explains my wishes in plain language. First line will say, respect is the hull of this family. Damage the hull, you don't sail. Paul smiles a little. That'll preach. I clear the table of the folder and the towel bag. I put the bow bell in my hand and feel the cool weight of polished brass. This bell rings for course changes, I say. Sometimes that's a new heading. Sometimes it's coming back to true north. I ring it once clean, not loud. We move to the cockpit. The sun finds the water's ribs and paints them gold. For the first time all day, my breath doesn't feel rented. Emily leans on the combing. What happens Monday? Monday, I say. I'll call a lawyer I trust and send her the file. Emails, texts, clips. The boundary summary. Not to sue. To stabilize. To have language ready in case Chase keeps escalating. Diane nods. Good. And Tuesday, I add. I'll take the starlight out alone at dawn, not to run away, to remind myself that peace isn't a gift from other people. It's a practice. The river flexes, soft. The mast lines ting-ting like a metronome turned down to a human heart. I'm not angry. I'm anchored. The gift is withdrawn. The boundary is drawn. The story, finally, is mine to tell. I don't look for saviors. I look for specialists. Sunday, 9:12 a.m. Mystic River Marina office. SFX. Coffee machine hiss. Printer hum. Gulls heckling the tide. Emily sits beside me, small but steady. Paul and Diane brought muffins like peace offerings you can eat. The glass door swings open and in walks Maya Chen, dark blazer over a striped tee, boat shoes, hair in a practical knot. She's a neighbor 3 slips down. The kind of person who fixes her own lines when the wind shifts and says good morning like she's measuring weather and people at the same time. Tom, she says, warm, then business. You said you had documents. And to a bless. I slide the stack across. Boundary summary. Photos of plier marks, towel bag with metal dust, USB with the clip, printed emails, POA divided by TOD, and last night's threat texts, screenshotted and timestamped. She scans like an ER doc with a triage cart. Okay, facts first. You preserved physical evidence good. You moved comms to email better. You didn't escalate best. She taps the printout of Chase's messages. He threatened lawyers and tried bank leverage by text. That's dumb, she adds, clinically. But useful. Diane exhales. We weren't sure calling a lawyer was too much. Maya smiles without letting the file go. I don't sue people for sport. I stabilize families so they stop bleeding. Also, she flips to the Coast Guard documentation. This is clean. Ownership's not in dispute. Emily's voice is fragile but holding. What do we do now? 3 lanes, Maya says, ticking them off with a pen. 1. Safety, no face-to-face conflict. 2. Paper tighten your estate perimeter without letting him turn it into a control battle. 3. Process set expectations he can't gaslight later. Paul nods. What does that look like, in English? In English, Maya says, uncapping her pen. I'll send a no-contact divided by cease and desist letter to Chase today, email plus certified mail. It's not dramatic. It's a boundary and legal tone. All communication by email. No visits, no calls, no marina drop-ins. Soft-to-ender. A preservation notice. Instruct him not to delete texts, emails, or social posts about this. Spoliation is a word. Even narcissists respect once they Google it. A demand for reimbursement, parts plus labor at your rate. You attach invoice, done. Deadline with late fee terms. A civil standby plan. If he needs to grab Emily's stuff from your place or the dock, security is present. 0 commentary. And a mutual non-disparagement draft because sometimes toxic people stop when they can't harvest an audience. I breathe like the river taught me, long inhale, long exhale. Sounds specific. Specific beats loud, Maya says. Narcissists run on audience and ambiguity. We remove both. I 10B and 2B in night. Emily finds me with her eyes. If he retaliates? Maya shrugs like a sailor watching a small squall. We document. If he blasts social, we reply once with a neutral line. There's more context. We're handling privately. Then we go back to radio silence. If he shows up here, we call the dock master, and I file an incident report. If he threatens finances again, we flag the bank for account notes and close any soft links. If he steps over into harassment, we escalate protective order as a last resort. But I've pulled that ripcord before. Diane's voice trembles. We raised him kinder than this. Maya's look is gentle and unblinking. Kindness without boundaries becomes enabling. Sometimes the most loving thing is no. I slide the boundary summary closer. Make it official. She flips to a blank page, writes in block letters, 2-week protocol, and reads as she writes. 0 in-person contact with Tom. All comms email only. 0 in-person contact with Tom. No access to boat, house, bank accounts, or the will topic. Reimbursement due within 7 days. Admit intentional damage in writing. No social media posts. If posted, screenshot plus preservation. Therapy referral. If reconciliation is attempted, it begins in structured couples counseling, not on a dock. She tears the page, slides copies to me. Emily, Paul, and Diane. Tape this to your fridge, Not because you'll forget, but because storms make smart people second-guess themselves. SFX, printer whirs. She produces letterheads that make words sit up straight. Quick question, Maya says, eyes on me. Do you want settlement language ready? Sometimes entitlement calms when money can't move and audience is gone. Other times it escalates, then collapses when it meets documented reality. Draft it, I say. I'm not baiting court, I'm building a spine. She nods. Good answer. Emily stares at the table. This is my husband, she says, like she needs the room to remember. I don't know what that means anymore. Maya softens. You're allowed to hold two truths. I love him, and I won't be hurt or controlled. Therapy is where those sentences learn to share a page. Emily nods, shaky but upright. Okay. Maya gathers the stack, clips it, and pauses. There's a weight in the air I can't name yet. She looks at me. Full disclosure, Tom. I took this call fast because I've seen this movie. How many times? I ask. One too many, she says. Double twist time. She sets her pen down like a gavel. I do this work because my mother once married a man who made my grandfather feel small. Called him a plumber. Said he shouldn't touch the grown-up decisions. He tried to hijack the will. Pushed POA papers across holiday tables. Broke things around the house to justify managing the estate. Her mouth hardens. Grandpa folded to keep peace. We paid for that peace for 10 years. The room holds its breath. I decided, Maya says, voice steady. No one folds on my watch. So yes, I take this personally, which is why your letters were already half written before I walked in. She half smiles. I templated them years ago. Paul finds his voice. Thank you. Diane wipes her eyes. Truly. Maya nods once, professional again. Tom. Sign here, limited scope engagement. Flat fee for letters. Hourly if we have to escalate. I'll CC your estate attorney so your will and beneficiary designations stay clean, and I'll add a bank notice. Third-party pressure alleged. Restrict account changes. Require in-person verification for any beneficiary divided by TOD edits. I sign. The pen feels like a tiller. My phone buzzes, the new email lands. From M. Chen, Esquire subject. No contact. Divided by preservation, divided by reimbursement Miller. She sees me, Chase, Emily for visibility, and BCCs herself. Chase replies in under a minute, fast like a man who thinks speed equals power. Chase, lol. Cease and desist, over a faucet. Post the video and I'll make you famous. Maya types with 2 fingers and no drama. Maya. Mr. Miller. Acknowledge receipt. You are on notice to preserve all related communications and recordings. All further contact with Mr. Reed by email only. Deleting evidence is spoliation. Payment terms are in the attached invoice. This is your opportunity to de-escalate. 3 dots. No reply. The silence is a small victory. Maya closes her laptop. You've got air cover now, she says. You don't have to argue. You just have to point to the protocol, to the paper. I stand. My shoulders feel 2 inches lower. What do I owe you today? A promise, she says. You don't negotiate your worth with someone who needs you small to feel big. I nod. Done. We walk back toward B-17, SFX. Dockboards, halyards. The easy music of boats at rest. Emily threads her arm into mine for the first time all weekend. At the finger pier, Maya stops. One last thing, she says, looking at the starlight's bow. That bell you ring, keep ringing it for course changes and for boundaries. Train your nervous system to trust the sound. I rest my hand on the brass. Yes, counselor. She grins. Maya's fine. Then, softer. Your mother would have liked that line in your estate letter. Respect is the hull. Mine would have too. The wind shifts, just a little. Lines tighten, then relax. It sounds like a boat deciding to stay put. I'm not safe because a lawyer showed up. I'm safe because I chose a team, a tone, and a process. The audience is gone. The ambiguity is gone. The narrative is not his anymore. I ring the bell once. The marina answers with quiet. I don't stage showdowns. I schedule clarity. Sunday, 4:30 p.m. End of Dock B. The river wears late light like a medal. SFX, gulls, halyard ting, footsteps on planks. I asked for a 15-minute civil standby. Dockmaster Pete within sight, radio on. Maya at my shoulder with a folder that could stop a small war. The agenda is printed on one page, 12-point, bullet points that don't blink. Chase arrives first, sunglasses that try too hard, jaw already working. He clock checks the room. Me, Emily, Paul, Diane, Maya, and Pete, a polite distance away, hands in pockets, eyes doing inventory. Wow, Chase says. Town hall on a dock. 15 minutes, I say. 2 topics, amends, access, then we're done. Maya holds up the page. Ground rules, 1 person speaks at a time, no recording, all follow up by email. Dockmaster is here for safety, not arbitration. Chase grins at Pete. You guys charge extra for this? Pete deadpans. Cheaper than a patrol boat. Chase turns to Emily, soft voice, weaponized. Babe, we could have just talked at home. She doesn't step closer. We tried that. This is boundaries. Great, he says, turning the word into air quotes. Let's boundary it up. Maya taps the top bullet. Item 1, reimbursement. Mr. Reed provided a parts and labor invoice for the galley cartridge you intentionally damaged. Due in 7 days. Check or electronic transfer. Late fees per invoice. Chase scoffs. Already sent. You'll see it at midnight 01 on day 8. Maya's smile is paper thin. If you choose to be late, we'll add the fee and forward to small claims. Next, I slide the zip bag with the towel back across. Item 2, admission. A short written apology to the people present, acknowledging the lie and the damage satisfies amends. He smirks. I'm sorry you felt hurt by a faucet that failed. Try again, Maya says, in writing. 5 sentences. No if, but, or felt. He stares at her like he's measuring her. Who are you again? Maya Chen, counsel. We sent you a no contact and preservation notice this morning. You replied, lol. That was not an acknowledgement. Consider this your reminder. Preserve all texts, emails, and posts. Deleting is spoliation. So sue me, he says, over a sink. Maya doesn't flinch. We're not suing, we're documenting. It's what adults do when they've spent enough years being told they imagined it. He laughs once, hard. Then he clocks the dockmaster again and thinks better of the next thing he wants to say. Item 3, I continue. Access. Effective immediately. You have none to the boat, the marina gate, my house, my bank accounts, or any discussion of the will. If Emily chooses to see you, that happens off dock, in public, or in therapy. No more ambushes. No more pop-ins. He darts his eyes to Emily like he can will her into a yes. So you need a chaperone now? She doesn't look away. I need safety. Why? He spreads his hands. I'm the safe one. Maya opens her folder and slides out a single page. Mutual non-disparagement. You don't smear Tom online. He doesn't smear you. You don't solicit friends or family to take sides. We all commit to no comment except for this sentence. We're handling it privately. Sign now or decline. Either way, we screenshot everything that follows. He snorts, but he reads. The silence that follows is the kind that makes smarter men stop. I don't sign gags, he says. It's a seatbelt, Maya replies. Keeps you from flying through your own windshield. He folds the paper and hands it back without signing. Pass. Noted, Maya says, and writes declined in the margin. The pen makes a sound, like a door latching. Item 4, I say. Process. If you need anything from me, you email. If Emily needs to retrieve items from the house, we schedule a 10-minute pickup with Pete, or a uniform present. No talking in the driveway, no speeches. Chase inhales a grin. You're making this toxic. No, I say. I'm making it boring. Pete nods like a man who's seen boring save lives. Chase decides to escalate. I'll be at the marina whenever my wife wants, he says. You can't ban me from public water. From my slip and my boat, I can, I say. I hand him a printout. Revocation of permission, trespass warning for B-17 and the Starlight. Pete taps the heading. You step across his gunwale after this, you're trespassing. Don't. Chase's jaw ticks. You got all this ready overnight? Maya tilts her head. No. We keep templates because patterns repeat. He looks at Emily like she's a witness who forgot her lines. So you're choosing this? Over your husband? Two. Emily's voice doesn't wobble. I'm choosing sane. He laughs without humor. You're brainwashed. Or, she says, I stopped enabling. He tries a new lane. Softer. The Hoover. Babe, I was scared. Your dad's impulsive. If he'd really rented a boat, we could have been liable. I overreacted. I'll pay for the cartridge. Let's just reset like grown-ups. Maya doesn't rescue me. I don't need it. Reset starts where truth starts, I say. Say the right sentence. There. He swallows pride like it's jagged. Then the blade comes back out. Fine. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Maya caps her pen. We're done. He glares at her. You don't get to call it. I do, I say. 15 minutes, 2 topics. We covered them. He looks past us, beyond the channel markers, out at water that doesn't care about anyone's narrative. You think this ends because you rang a bell? No, I say. It ends because I stopped arguing with a story and started living with evidence. He takes a step closer. Pete shifts his weight without moving his feet. Chase stops. Maya slides a last sheet out like a quiet card trick. Bank memo already transmitted. Notes on your profile. Third-party pressure alleged. Require in-person verification at branch for any beneficiary or TOD changes. Flag for escalation if attempted. If you call pretending to be helping, they'll note the account. The audience you use lives behind counters too. He stares at the paper without taking it. He knows what it means. Fewer angles. Fewer mirrors. Minute 14, Maya says, checking her watch. Any last logistics? Chase licks his lips. Yes, Emily, dinner. Tonight. We talk like adults. Emily shakes her head. If we talk, it's Wednesday. Therapist's office, 3 p.m. I already emailed for a slot. You'll get the calendar invite. He flinches like the word therapist burned. We don't need a referee. We need a process, she says. He turns to me, anger giving way to something like calculation. Post the video, and I'll call every cousin you've got. You'll be the meme. Maya doesn't look up. Non-disparagement declined. Threat logged. She scribbles the time next to it. 4:42. Pete raises 2 fingers like a traffic cop. 15, he says. We wrap. I square my shoulders without lifting my chin. Chase, here's the last line. Respect is not negotiable on this dock, in my house, or in my inbox. You'll get a recap email. If you respond, do it in writing. If you show up without notice, Pete calls it in. If you escalate, we escalate. He looks from face to face and finds no landing strip. He pockets his hands like they might do something smart if he keeps them there. Enjoy your boat, he says to the horizon, and walks. SFX. Footsteps fade. A gull laughs like it knows every human trick already. Paul exhales. I hate that this is necessary. It's merciful, Maya says. Mercy for the rest of the family, too. Diane wipes her eyes. He'll spin this tonight. Let him, Maya says. We keep the receipts. Pete tips his cap and drifts back down the dock, easy as a tide change. We're alone again with the kind of quiet that doesn't ask to be fed. Emily threads her arm through mine. I thought I'd feel shattered, she says. I just feel steady. That's what boundaries feel like, I tell her. Not fireworks, flooring. My phone buzzes. Email from Maya. Doc B meeting recap, plus next steps. Bullet points, timestamps, attachments. She beat me to it by 30 seconds. I forward the recap to Chase with 2 words at the top. Received and noted. Then I mute the thread again, because quiet is a skill you practice until it's reflex. We walk back toward B17. The starlight rocks once like a nod. I touch the bow bell and don't ring it. Not every line in the sand needs sound. Some hold just fine in ink. I don't chase peace anymore. I practice it. Monday, 5:41 a.m. The river is graphite and silver. SFX, dock lines creak. A heron lifts. Diesel whispers alive. I idle the starlight past the breakwater. Emily asleep in the forecabin like a child who finally shut the door on thunder. Paul and Diane left a casserole and a note that said only, "We're here." Maya's recap email sits in my inbox like a keel. Straight, heavy, honest. The channel markers blink red, green, red. I'm not looking for distance. I'm looking for bearing. I reach for the bow bell and ring it once low, not for show. Brass answers brass. In my chest, something unclenches. The river opens. I throttle up 2 knots, no more. SFX. Wake softens against granite. I talk to the empty cockpit the way I used to talk to engine rooms. Check your gauges, trust your ears. If a bolt rattles, don't turn the music up, tighten the bolt. By the time the sun brushes the masts, I've made a list on a D-ring notepad. Not a revenge list. A maintenance schedule for a life I intend to keep. Estate letter, the plain English one that sits atop the will. Update line 1. Respect is the hull. Beneficiaries. Review with my estate attorney. No changes today, but a note that any edits require in-person verification. Bank accounts. Flags set. TOD designations locked. Alerts turned on. Boat. Add no unaccompanied guests to the laminated rules by the helm. Clear isn't cold, it's kind. Communication, everything in email. Every phone call declined and followed by, please put that in writing. Therapy. Text Emily at 8:30 to confirm the Wednesday 3 p.m. slot. Offer to drive and wait in the lobby with vending machine coffee and a book I won't read. I set the notepad down and watch a lobster boat cross my bow with the patience of someone who knows tides. Write the real agenda. I'm not behind. I'm exactly where I should be. SFX. Phone vibrates an email. From Chase. Subject. Doc B meeting recap plus next steps. One line. Received. No apology. No fireworks. Just the sound of a man who realized the room got small for him and big for us. I forward it to the folder Maya made me name Evidence. Do not edit and feel the small satisfaction of filing something that doesn't hurt. By 9, I'm back at B17. The dock smells like cedar and salt and a day I don't owe to anyone. Pete tips his cap. Smooth run? Like a clean bearing, I say. He nods toward the bell. Good sound. Course change, I tell him. Keep it, he says. Like a man who knows how quickly currents rewrite plans. Inside, Emily is up. Hair a map of sleep. She pours coffee like it's not a borrowed apology and sits with her knees tucked under her on the salon bench. Did you sleep? I ask. Enough, she says. She looks older and younger at the same time. I read Maya's recap twice. Me too. She holds my eyes. I'm going to therapy Wednesday. I know. I don't know if I'm leaving my marriage. I God forbid. I know. I repeat, and mean it as permission, not pressure. You're allowed to hold both, love and boundaries. We take our cups to the cockpit. The river has turned the color of resolve. I keep thinking, she says, voice low. How many times I asked you to be nice. And really, I was asking you to absorb it so I didn't have to feel it. That's what enablers do when we love people, I say. We confuse silence with kindness. She nods. I'm done confusing them. Me too. We sit with the simple sound of a marina that isn't performing for anyone. My phone buzzes again. From Maya. Subject. Bank confirmations plus next steps. 2 bullet points. Bank memo acknowledged by branch manager. Any beneficiary divided by TOD changes require in-person verification by me plus manager override. Non-disparagement unsigned. She attached a 1-sentence response template for any family member who reaches out. We're handling it privately, and we won't be discussing it. I reply with 2 words. Thank you. At 11:12, Diane texts Emily. We love you. Sandwiches. Emily smiles and types back. Yes. The ordinary feels like a miracle when you've been living inside a show. I take the leather folder out one last time, not for a duel, for a pen. I write the estate letter I kept promising myself I'd write after something exploded. I write it before anything else does. Estate letter, plain English, cover to the will. Respect is the hull. Damage the hull, you don't sail. No one speaks for me without written authority. If anyone pressures you to change bank accounts, beneficiaries, or the will, you pause and you call my attorney. Gifts and access are privileges with behavior clauses. Violate them. Privileges end. No. Second, hidden paragraphs. Family peace is not maintained by silencing victims or rewarding bullies. If you find a video, an email, a text that makes you doubt your memory, trust the record, not the loudest voice. I print it, sign it, date it. The pen doesn't shake. Emily watches me slide it on top of the will in my fire safe. Mom would have liked that. She says. She taught me the sentence, I answer. I finally wrote it down. We eat Diane's sandwiches looking at a river that has outlived 1,000 arguments. The afternoon moves without asking us to chase it. At 2:07, Maya calls the only call I take to say she got a terse acknowledgement from Chase's email address with the single word, received, and a read receipt on the preservation notice. No fireworks on my end, she says. Good, I say. I like boring. I know, she says. And there's a smile in it. Boring is where healing gets done. By 4, the light goes gold. I take the bell down and polish it with a rag that doesn't smell like WD-40, just lemon oil and effort. I hang it back where it belongs and say the quiet prayer of people who fix things for a living. Let the next sound be a clean one. When the first evening breeze touches the halyards, I record a message to myself. VO memo, 1 minute. To play on bad days. Remember this. You didn't win because you were louder. You won because you were clear. You didn't punish. You recalibrated. When they said toxic, you said document. When they said nice, you said boundaries. You chose process over adrenaline, evidence over narrative, quiet over spectacle. Keep doing that. We had entectas in where that disagreem. I save it with the file name True, North, M4A and laugh at myself a little for being corny. Then I play it twice. I promised myself this wouldn't just be a story, it would be a manual. So here it is, the short version for anyone who's ever been called crazy in their own kitchen. 1. Boundaries are policies, not vibes. Write them, email them, put them on the fridge. No access to the boat, the house, my bank accounts, or the will. All communication by email. Pick up by civil standby. No pop-ins. Clear isn't unkind. Clear is the only way to stop gaslighting from moving the goalposts. 2. Evidence beats charisma. Photos with timestamps. Videos with angles. Chain of custody on physical items, yes, even a towel. Screenshot texts like you're making a scrapbook for a judge you hope you never meet. I feel is valid. Here's the clip, ends arguments. 3. Separate love from access. You can love your son-in-law and still revoke his Marina Gate card. You can love your daughter and still withdraw a use trust she didn't know about. Gifts and access should never be hostage to compliance. That's not family. That's leverage. 4. Tighten the legal perimeter without living in court. Cover letter on top of the will. Beneficiaries and TOD forms reviewed. In-person verification required for changes. No contact and preservation notices when needed, not to punish, to stabilize. Banks keep notes. 2. Use them. 5. Don't negotiate with a moving story. Narcissists need audience and ambiguity. Remove both. 1 neutral reply on social. We're handling it privately. Then silence. Every extra sentence becomes a tool in someone else's hands. 6. Ask the only question that matters. Was I enabling this by being nice? If the answer feels like a knot, pull it gently and keep pulling. Nice that requires you to shrink is not nice. It's self-erasure. Get a pro in the boat. A sharp lawyer like Maya changes the weather. Letters, protocols, words like spoliation that make stupid threats small. If you can't afford counsel, a legal clinic or victim advocate can still help you write sentences that stand up outside your house. Replace spectacle with ritual. My ritual is a bell. Yours might be a note on your phone that says, I decline the call, please email. Rituals teach your nervous system that safety is a series of small, repeatable choices. And if you're a parent stuck between love and a lie, here's the line that saved my day and might save your week. Respect is the hull. Damage the hull, you don't sail. Sunset. The river lays down its armor and turns to glass. Emily leans her head on my shoulder the way kids do when storms have names and endings. Dad, she says, ring it. It is not Carrie's. I do. 1 clean note. Not a victory lap. A heading. Justice didn't arrive with sirens. It arrived like a course correction, small wheel, steady hand, honest chart. True north isn't a place. It's a promise you keep in public and in writing. If you skip to the end, here's the short version. Protecting your peace is not drama, it's maintenance. The biggest lesson I learned is that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a TED Talk for putting your mental health first. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They're about calm, safety, and clarity. Especially when you're dealing with an entitled or narcissistic personality who thrives on audience and ambiguity. What actually worked wasn't a louder argument. It was a boring process. Written boundaries, camera, timestamps, screenshots, invoices, and email-only communication. That combo starves gaslighting and retrains the enabler in you. It also spares the decent people in the blast radius: parents, in-laws, kids who get dragged into the chaos. The legal divided by financial hygiene help too. No contact in writing. Preservation of evidence. Banknotes requiring in-person verification for beneficiary divided by TOD changes. And a plain English estate letter on top of the will. None of this is about winning. It's about not bleeding out from 1,000 tiny boundary cuts. If you're stuck in a similar loop, steal my template. Write the rule email it, follow it. Replace spectacle with ritual from me, a bell. For you. Maybe please email that. Keep receipts. Let evidence outwork accusation. Remember, respect is the hull. Damage the hull, you don't sail. Now I'm curious, Reddit style. AITA for pulling the plug on access, withdrawing the gift, and moving everything to email? What would you have done in my situation? And real talk, have you dealt with an entitled family member who tried to manage your life, your bank accounts, or your will? Drop your survival tips, scripts, boundaries that actually stuck, legal steps that saved your sanity, in the comments. Your playbook might be exactly what someone else needs today.